Hey, good day to you. Hey, this is Stan Perchowski. I'm this from Perchowski Estate Law, and this is the Ask Stan show. Running about 30 minutes late today. Had a scheduled phone call with someone. We're working on one of our crisis cases, trying to work out the best possible result for somebody, and the only available time that person had was 12 o'clock. So we kind of had to punt 30 minutes, but hey, we're here now. This is the Ask Stan show where you can ask anything you want about estate planning. Live, I'll answer it live, or if you want to submit the question, I'll get back to you privately. No problem. Let's see, a couple things real quick. What's coming up tonight at 6 o'clock? I'm doing one of my webinars called Trust Wills in the Nursing Home, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. So that's at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. tonight, July the 30th. And if you want to, right here on the web, on my Facebook page will be the link. If you want to sign up for the link, or we'll click on something and we'll send it to you. Also, going to do another live, we're going to get back to the live seminars. We're going to do August 27th, which is a Thursday. We're going to do a couple webinars that day, one at noon, one at 6 o'clock. I'm going to send out some mail flyers, but if you don't get a mail flyer, you can go ahead and still let me know you're invited. So we're going to do it live, and we're going to live stream it as well. We're going to practice all the social distancing, the sanitizing the area. We're going to be clean as we can be, but I know some people just want to come live, and that's what we're going to do. If you're uncomfortable coming live, then we'll stream it, and you can watch it like this, like a webinar. So, okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Wanted to talk about something that was a little more fun to talk about. We talk about estate planning, trust and wills, and nursing homes. Some of it mortality. Some of it can be depressing. People worried about losing all their assets because they're in long-term care and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about something a little more amusing, and that is, it actually derives from a question. Somebody was drafting up a plan, and they wanted to know, when it comes to funeral arrangements or final disposition, what can you do? I mean, most people say, well, I want to be cremated and, bury me over at the Memorial Gardens or something like that. So, what can we do? And we got talking about it, and my response was pretty much anything you want. And, especially in a trust. Now, people put stuff like this in a will where they say, hey, I want my ashes to be scattered over someplace. You can do that, but it's really not the fiduciary responsibility of the will to make sure that gets done. Remember what a will does? All it does is transfer property. And when you put stuff like what to do with my remains, there's no fiduciary duty for your executor to do that, especially in probate. So the best way to do that is with a trust, because your successor trustee does have a fiduciary duty to do your final requests on that, because it does more. Trust does more than just property. So what I want to talk about is, we kind of looked around for some of the strangest requests made in the final dispositions in people's estate plans, and I'm just going to go through them kind of quickly. But there's a couple of cute ones on here. Some are from famous people, some are not so famous, some are rich people, some not so rich. I just was looking for the oddest ones, and you be the judge of how odd they are, but I thought they sort of stuck out from your everyday requests. So, one of the ones we have, first one, everybody remember the comedian Jack Benny? Jack Benny provided in his estate plan that every day for the rest of his wife's life, Mary Livingston, a florist would deliver to her one long stem red rose. And she said in a magazine interview, as much as 10 years after her life, she said that she's been getting one every day. So I don't assume she got it the day she passed away. There was one that I thought was odd, nobody that you should know about, this aristocrat down in Portuguese. He had the thing that struck me was he has a big fortune, and instead of leaving it to his family, he picked 70 strangers' names out of the Lisbon phone directory, and that's who he listed. So seems like kind of a waste to me, but that's what they did. So Harry Houdini, remember the famous disappearance artist or the magician Harry Houdini? It was like the escape artist, I guess he was. He actually died on Halloween, and he had his wife. He memorized a secret code, and in his estate plan, he wanted to have an annual seance. Where they all sit around, hold hands, and try to communicate with the other side, I guess. And according to his wife, they conducted that she conducted that every year for 10 years on Halloween. The article was silent on why it stopped or why she didn't do it anymore. You often heard me talk about doing pet trust. We do pet trust, but Oprah Winfrey, who's still alive, her trust plan says that she creates a pet trust. She's putting $30 million in a pet trust for the care and maintenance of her pets should she predecease them. Here's one of my favorites, Janis Joplin. She's from my era of music in the 60s. Just 2 days before she passed away, she modified her will and she set a certain amount of money out, which really in today's equivalent would be about $20,000 or $30,000, to have a party. She wanted a posthumous party for 200 guests of her friends. And the language that really caught my attention was, it's true Janis Joplin style. In her document, she said she wanted to have the party. She said, so my friends can get blasted after I'm gone. So that's just how you expect Janis Joplin to report that. Here's another good one. There's a guy named Frederick Baer, he was the inventor of Pringles potato chips. He came up with a methodology on how to make all potato chips the same shape so you could neatly stack them in the container rather than just stick them in a bag and they're any shape. Everybody remembers Pringles, actually pretty good. But he was so proud of that, he wanted to take it with him, so he was to be cremated, and when he passed away in 2008, his children buried him. He was 89 years old. They buried his ashes in a Pringles can. So, hey, what about that? The heiress of the Quaker State Refining Corporation, that's the oil company. She left $14 million. She had 150 stray dogs. So she left those in some sort of pet trust because you can't leave property to a dog because a dog is property. So property can't own property in this country. So she left it to them, and anything that was left over went to the Auburn University Research Foundation that specifically looked into canine disease research. So let's see. There's a comic book editor, Marvel, for the Marvel comic books, Mark Greenwald. Now that's not the guy you're thinking of. If you're a Marvel fan, you watch the movies. There's always this guy named Stanley that has like 5 seconds or 10 seconds of appearance in all the movies. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're a Marvel fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This isn't him. This is an editor of the Marvel comic books. And he made Captain America and Iron Man comic books kind of what they are today. So he loved that so much, he wanted to be part of the Marvel generation or universe for the rest of his life. So he was cremated, and he requested that they print one of the Marvel comic books using a special type of paper that's manufactured out of his ashes. So, okay. I like this one. This is what I call the ultimate last word. This is a nobody, but he was a poet in Germany. His name was Heinrich Heine, and he had quite a fortune. And he left it to his wife, and I guess over there they don't have elective share because over here you can't disinherit a wife. But in here he left it to his wife, but he put a condition on it. He said, and of course, in a will you can't put conditions on inheritance, so you have to have a trust. So his trust put a condition on Mathilda when her one condition, which is not what you'd think it'd be, the one condition was she has to get remarried to inherit the fortune. And you think, well, gee, I don't understand why that is, but you'll love this. This is what this is why he did it. He said she has to get remarried before she can get the money. And he said, because then at least one man will regret my death. Hey, you can't make this stuff up, right? Another was Gene Roddenberry. Remember him? He was the guy that created Star Trek back in the 60s. I think it was created in '69. He gathered a bunch of out-of-work actors, of which William Shatner was one of them, and they all were. And they got together to do Star Trek. And it was on every Thursday night at 9 o'clock, because I know I had to go to bed at 9 o'clock, and I had to beg the old man to let me stay up to watch Star Trek on Thursday nights. But he had such a love for space that he actually had his cremated ashes flown into space. So he got his wish. The last one I want to talk about was a guy named, there was this attorney in Canada. His name was Charles Miller. Again, nobody you should ever know about, but he apparently died childless and as a bachelor. And when he left $500,000, not a big thing, but it was back in 1928. It's pretty big back then. He died in 1920. He left $1 million, and he said he wanted it to go to the mother that gave birth to the most children in the 10 years after he passed away. So he passed away in 1928. So from 28 to 38, up in the Toronto area, he created what was called the Baby Derby, where these mothers were having as many babies as they could in order to inherit this fortune. And the way it turned out in 1938, which was 10 years later, there were 4 winners that had to divide the $500,000, all of them giving birth to 9 babies each. Was it worth it? Hey, moms, you tell me. You know what I thought was interesting about that? You know, just because they gave birth to 9 children each, it doesn't mean they had 9 children, because the stipulation was the most number of births in the 10-year period in the Toronto area after I die. So what if you had 4 kids already in 1928 when he died, and you decided to enter the Baby Derby and had 9 more? You know, so don't know. That's interesting, but hey, interesting stuff that you can put in your estate plan. And yeah, I mean, to answer the original question that somebody asked, you can pretty much put anything you want in there. I had a guy one time, he said he wanted to be stuffed. Now, I don't know how to accomplish that. I mean, you can do it. You can do all these things we talked about, but I'm not sure how to even accomplish that. I don't know who would do it. I don't know if it's legal to do it. I don't know what you would do with them after you get stuffed. But hey, I mean, you can put it in there and we'll see what would fly. Walt Disney was one. Everybody's familiar with Walt Disney. He decided to be frozen until a cure for what killed him came about. From my knowledge, he still is in cryogenic freeze, waiting for a solution to his particular problem. So I think his problem was he smoked like a chimney for 50 years. I mean, I think his was smoking related. So anyway, that's those are some of the odd requests I see. Maybe I'll prompt some ideas for you to put in your trust plan about what you want done with yourself, you know, when you leave this world. Anyway, okay, hey, that's the Ask Stan show for today. I like to keep it about 10 or so minutes. Let me just recap what's coming up. Doing a live webinar tonight, July the 30th, 6 p.m. Call the office, go to Facebook here, find the link, and we'll send you the link, and you can just click on it and just watch it live. It's called Wills, Trust in the Nursing Home, and that's where we, you know, talk about those very things. So also put on your calendar, August the 27th. We're going back to having live seminars. We're going to have it here on the square. We're going to do social distancing, sanitizing, all that stuff, masks if you want to wear them. And we're going to stream it live for people that may just be uncomfortable coming out into a live setting. A lot of people are anxious to get out, and they come to my office a lot, and I know we'll have a tendency. But if you are interested in that, I want to make one thing perfectly clear, and that is because we're social distancing, I'm severely limited on the number of RSVPs I can do at that. So if that does interest you, call and reserve that seat, because I mean it's a third of the capacity, if that. I mean, it's even cut it down even more to make sure everybody's far enough apart. But hey, we'll get. You know, I'm doing 2 of them that day, so we'll figure it out. If we have any overflow, I'll do one Friday and see if we can handle the overflow. But so that's Ask Stan. Thanks for tuning in this July the 30th, almost August already. Can you believe that? Coronavirus has been going on for how long now? 6 months? Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next Thursday, or at 12 o'clock on the Ask Stan show, on time next Thursday, or maybe later tonight at my webinar. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you.